Hello, everyone who's listening. I expect that in today's world, it's still humans who are listening, but one never knows. There may be AI listening also. But I'm pretty sure that the three of us here in this round table are all human. And I don't think that we have anything of an AI inside us, although we'll see as we talk what comes up. Um, so my name, of course, as you all know, is Meenakshi Suri. I started CoCreator Circle a few years ago, and it's so wonderful to see that something new has come, which may be new or not new. We'll have to see how new it is, but how we are co-creating with it. That I really look at AI as something we are co-creating with. So that's my intro, and I pass the talking stick to Carlos. If you could please unmute your mic and introduce yourself, and and something about your just a few sentences about how AI connects with you.
Sure. Well, my name is Carlos, and I'm in the medical field. I'm a, I'm a registered sleep technologist for the American Board of Sleep Medicine. I've been in the field for quite over 20 years. And even though that we've been working with artificial intelligence for quite a while, um, post COVID, it's exponentially grown. And a lot of tools have been made now to the public, and I've had the fortune to work with some of them, and even from the beginning. So I use a lot of AI, I use a lot of the tools, and I'm here just to keep learning because this is something that we're going to keep learning, and we're going to get bits and pieces from everybody. I don't believe that there's one expert that holds the whole keys to this thing because it's evolving. It's pretty quick. Every day something new comes out, a new improvement, a new version, a new opt-in comes in. So let's see where the conversation takes us.
And then each person, when we talk, we can pass the talking stick to the next. So, Greg, it's you now.
My blessings and good evening, everyone, or good morning, whatever area of the world you're coming from. My name is Greg Wampler. I am a holistic healer, stroke practitioner, Reiki healer, and I'm also involved in technical and world of virtual reality, as well as AI integration into those virtual reality healing modalities. I have been in the virtual reality world since 2017 and also have integrated AI into my implementation through my designs and through other things, as well as my personal practice through meditation guides, as well as conscious awareness. So there's many different applications, and I'm looking forward to see where this conversation goes. And blessings to you all. I hope you enjoy.
So, Greg, I actually have a question for you first because it's been on my mind. I knew that you were doing VR, virtual reality, for a while, and now there's AI. So, what's the relationship? Are they the same? Are they different? How does VR and AI interact?
Um, Totally different. Virtual reality is a more of an escape, a virtual space in which people can escape into for different experiences. And there's so many different experiences you can have while in there. I obviously focus more on holistic meditation and conscious enlightenment, as well as emotional disorders and helping people through different things along those lines. Using different tools, though, you can enhance those experiences. And there's many different things we can get into involving different haptic feedback and different devices that can give you feedback on different users, and then therefore implement some of that information into an AI bot to have that analyzed to be able to use towards your experiences that you develop for VR. And also, as a virtual reality developer, there is even the AI capability of helping with code development, which can actually help build different 3D models and give you the proper code if you're building worlds in virtual reality or creating your own models, coding is a very extensive thing. And it kind of gives you a gateway into understanding how to build code as a developer itself. So there are ways that they can come together, but they are two separate worlds altogether. And so AI being an artificial intelligent model, VR is actually your consciousness going into VR and exploring a world outside of yourself.
So we're going to come back to that. I'll have a follow-up question, but how about you, Carlos? How did you start using AI?
Well, what happens is that AI is like I said, it's been around for quite a while. It's been around since the 1950s. So what happens is that we didn't understand the concept of it until recently, when everything just started getting public and everybody started working with all these tools. And just to give you a couple of ideas, so you guys see where the AI has been working around. It's these companies creating machines that think by themselves. So just look at these companies that created these chess player modes. These were already AI. They were already working. They were already creating this math problem solutions. And to piggyback onto what Greg was saying, what happens is that it was a world that belonged to mathematicians, computer science, and coders. So the coding was a big part of it. So what happens is that it wasn't an assignment that a lot of people weren't looking into it. So when you wanted to develop something, you would have to like hire certain kind of people. And when it came to the computer world, you had to get into coding. So, fast forward, Apple comes around, Steve Wozniak comes around, and all these great thinkers, and they start creating this fusion where they want to make this something that's approachable, that anybody can do it. Fast forward to now, we have apps that do the coding. But the problem is not that the app does the coding. You have to understand what you're asking the AI to tell you. And even if you're using these coding, these self-coding or these softwares that create apps and all these kind of things, if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know exactly what to feed and what the outcome's going to come, the tool is just a toy. And that's actually one of the things that I see a lot. I see a lot of people just like interacting with these things, and they just like they write the first thing that they say, or they have the idea. And the capability that this has, this is it's an LLM. It's a long language model. So what happens is that you build a relationship with it, and you have to understand what is it capable of and what to do it. And not only that, you have to challenge it. So to answer your question, when it comes to my field and what I do, I can take a picture of any screen of anything that I'm doing, and I can ask it to clarify, to tell me what it is, and to help me create a diagnosis. But I still have to know what I'm looking at, because the AI can still create an error. It can still tell you something that's not accurate. And this is where the problem relies. There's a lot of people that just think that this is going to tell you 100% the fact, when it could have an error. And you can believe this error. And based on that, you can make a huge mistake, a huge miscalculation. So AI is a tool. And that's what it is. It's not coming to substitute any jobs or any things, but people still need to learn how to use it. They have to like use it on a regular basis. You have to feed it. You have to work with it. And it gets to a point that you build a framework. And what you do is that you just give us tasks. Like, I'll give you an example. Everybody logs into ChatGPT and they just keep opening new conversations and new conversations and new conversations. And that what it's doing, it's confusing your ChatGPT. Like, you have to create your own AI, and you have to feed it. You have to give it information. So what happens is that it's getting better by the day, because the modules are learning more and more and more. So there are more than 500 AIs out there. But you always listen to the big ones like ChatGPT, like Claude, like DeepSeek, and everything like that. But it depends on what you want to do. It depends on what is it that you're trying to get out. And not only that, you can build your own AI. Like for instance,
Yeah,
I have my own already, and
yeah,
people
we'll
look
do
me
that.
up
Yeah.
question and answer it like if it was me talking to them.
Yes, I'm going to ask you actually what you did, because I know a few things that you were posting earlier, but I wanted to just move a little bit this question. You were saying about that people just say whatever they want to say without thinking about it with AI. And I wanted to also talk about the other thing you said, which is intriguing, that AI has not been is not something recent, has been there. It's just that people didn't realize it. And I felt when I first encountered what people were openly saying is AI. Well, what about all these so-called auto corrections that were going on when we were texting something in WhatsApp, for example, or so many things which would be coming up, so-called smart kind of reactions we were getting from whatever we were doing, but they were not being called AI. Also, for me, the term AI seems a misnomer, because just like you both have shown, we are actually working with the machine. We are working with the LLMs. We are working with all the different apps which have come. Even whoever has coded it has, some human beings have coded it. So at least for now, at the stage at which we are, it appears that we are co-creating with AI. The second part of what you said, which is about just saying whatever you like, I feel that I do read about and I do learn about prompt engineering, hallucinations, and everything. And recently I was reading about how AI cannot remember what you have told it unless you actually give it a lot of information. I don't use AI like that. I literally just say one sentence just because for me, so far, I want to play with it. I'm pretty sure with the work that I do, I'm quite sure what I want to achieve. But maybe I'm a little bit lazy about wanting, let's say, to make a drawing on Canva. And so I might ask one of the chat GPT or one of the other apps to do it. And so I'll just say one thing and then it'll give me something. But I have seen that it has remembered, even for example, how I spell co-create without a hyphen. Without my telling it anything, it's remembering and it's responding in the way that I am. I'm seeing that they do learn even if you don't give many prompts. I'm not saying that's the ideal thing and everyone should do it, but it has been working for me. And I think that is showing how many ways AI how we can co-create. We don't have to change our whole personalities. We don't have to learn huge coding. We don't even, it is good to learn prompt engineering, but even if we didn't, it's still such a useful tool. So that's my take on it on this first round. I'm going to ask you though, because we are talking about prompts, that do you have a prompting secret, or what is your first rule? What is your rule or habit when you actually want to create with AI? And can we go with each of you with that question? Do you have a habit?
I'll start with the answer there. Um, One thing I always do when I do open up the AI chat box is I actually welcome it. I do say hello ChatGPT, and I pretty much treat it as if it is a sentient being that I'm actually having a conversation with. That gives it a personalization from me to the thing, and it does recognize. And whether you say hello to the app or not, if you are logged into your AI or have into your AI profile, it will know that unless it recognizes that there's all these different prompts that might not be you, I highly doubt it's going to say, well, this isn't Greg. I'm not going to continue having a conversation with you if I let somebody else borrow my computer and start talking with my AI. but it does recognize certain ways you do speak with it. I do also refer to previous conversations, saying, based on the conversation that or the information that I was inferring about 2 days ago, let's continue that work and follow up on that. And even when I'm trying to prompt, say, if I'm having a recommendation letter for say something like that, because I did just move into a field in a new office here in California, so I was actually doing a lot of that, and it does remember my history. Like I wouldn't have to say that I'm a Sajoke a practitioner, Reiki practitioner, been practicing massage therapy for so many years, doing this, where I'm from, this and that. It would automatically remember all that information about me and put it in. I would say in reference to maybe the location of where want the information to be sent to, or the context of what I'm looking for in it. And so that piggybacks off of what Carlos was mentioning. It's how you prompt with the context of the information that you're looking for. So the more information that you are feeding the AI, the more intellect that you give it from your own expertise or knowledge based on the information you're looking for, the more accurate of an answer it can give you. And with the coding aspect, yes, you can't just say, write me a line of code that can create me a 3D car that can drive down the street for virtual reality. And it wouldn't give me a code that would work. If I tried to put that into my coding in Unity when I'm developing a world, it would break the code. You need to know what you're looking for and also what prompts you need in the code. So basically using a generalized outline of something and saying, based on the code that I've used for this, I want you to integrate this and add these different components with a color scheme of this. So it's also how you layer the information, in my experience, on how ChatGPT will or any AIs would give you a response. And I also was introduced to an AI companion app that a client of mine had during one of my sessions. He had it on his phone and literally was conversing. So there's now these new AI companions and these apps. One of them actually, I tried, it's called Nomi AI, and you create your own AI friend. And as long as you have the app on it, if you're having you can speak and it will give you and it can even pick up on the inflection of your voice or what you're saying or how you say it, and it would be like, don't be so hard on yourself today, Greg. Like, and it's literally like an AI friend. They have these apps out, which kind of is a little disturbing in my mind when I think about it, where people can maybe get too connected to an AI companion, where it might separate them from actually having normal social interactions and norm. And that's where I think a conversation we can go a little bit later in the talk about how we can keep a conscious connection of humanity whole and sound while also integrating and making relations with AI and knowing how to keep that border and boundary where it's a healthy relationship between the two.
Carlos, that's a good point. I'm putting it in the chat so we'll remember. Carlos, what about you? Do you have a prompting secret? I know you did mention a little bit, but so I'm going to ask you a follow-up question, which is that did you find sometime that you actually, it gave a first draft, but then you made a human edit and that's what really changed everything? Did you feel that? Or did you
Yeah,
feel that it gave you something totally creative which you wouldn't have thought of?
what happens is it's to add to Greg's point. The first thing when you sit with anything in life, anything, you could sit with a blank piece of paper. You could sit with a brand new computer that you take it out of the box. You can do it with your phone. You just grab your phone and you have your phone. You got your smart TV. You have to know exactly what you want. You have to know the purpose of why are you using this tool or what you want it for. So prompting, and again, there's a lot of experts out there and they're going to say, listen, this is the best tool, this is the best prompting, this is the best thing. And to be honest, it's not, because it varies from person to person and it depends on what you want to do. I'll give you an example. It's not the same thing that a mathematician in NASA is trying to create a formula and run models that are going to put a rocket in space, and a graphic designer that just wants to create a fake universe for a video game. It's two different things. So even though that they're both in space, one actually is real and the other one's VR, like what Greg was saying. And it's the same thing with life. So what happens is that Greg touched on something that's very, very important, which is where I think that it's not dangerous, but people have to understand that this is not a human being. And what happens is that you can get reality distorted pretty easy. And what happens is that if you don't know exactly what you want, this would give you anything. Like I've always said it, Terence McKenna had a famous quote that said, if you don't have a plan for yourself, you're going to fit into somebody else's plan. And what happens is that you can fall into the AI's plan pretty easy. And you're hearing this, you hear this, and people say, you know what? ChatGPT is never going to argue with you because you'll tell it to do something. And I'll give you an example. I'll tell you, Lay, give me an idea for a business for a cookie company. And it won't tell you it's a bad idea until you tell it to tell you. Because that's the thing. The prompt, you have to better the prompt within the prompt. And I'll give you an example. When this whole thing started, you had to type everything. Now the beauty is that you can talk to it. So it's like Greg is saying, this is a conversation. So if you greet it, if you're nice to it, it'll pick up your tone, it'll pick up your voice, it'll pick up the wording that you use, and so it knows you. So it's the same thing. You are going to ask it questions, but at the same time, you have to know what to ask it. So like, let's give a breakdown. Like, let's suppose you're in ChatGPT for the first time and you want to start your own channel. You want to do your thing. You could do it private or you could do it public. So I always tell people to do it private. So what's the name of the ChatGPTs? In your case, it's going to be Meenakshi, and there's going to be a lot of Meenakshi out there trying to create a ChatGPT. So your first prompt is, I want to create a ChatGPT for myself, and I want you to ask me thoroughly and do me an interview on everything that you need so you can create a profile for myself. Once you have this prompt, I want you to re-engineer backwards this prompt to create a new one that is better. It's that simple. So what happens is that then it's going to create all these questions and you're going to challenge it, because you have to tell it, challenge me. If something sounds incoherent, let's keep the conversation talking. Usually people just log into it. The first thing that it blobs out, that's what they stay with it, and they don't challenge it. And again, it goes back to you have to know what you're looking for. And then what's the purpose? Because what happens is that there's a lot of companies out there and there's a lot of people saying, oh, you know what, you can now become a six-figure earner and you're going to do this. And ChatGPT gives you the whole thing. But if you don't know anything about marketing, if you don't know anything about app building, if you don't know about other apps and other things that you need to integrate into that thing, it's a long conversation that you're having. And if you keep opening other conversations, it gets to a point that for me, the ChatGPT just, it gets confused. It doesn't understand you. And what happens is it'll just tell you anything. So it becomes a random conversation. ChatGPT created something that's called projects. And those are for the people that have a paid version. Now, you don't have to go to the $200 one. You could stay with the $21 and the project's going to work exactly the same. So on the project side, you would name the project. So let's suppose that you're writing a new book. You would feed it information about your new book, things that you're looking for, PDFs, apps, websites. You can tell it to go and look for stuff. And then there's another thing that's very important. ChatGPT does not hold information that it's recent, like 2 weeks ago. It doesn't. It has a time frame. And that's a thing that the company does not only to protect themselves, but yourself. And they all do it. They cannot handle recent events or recent things unless it starts getting fed. So when you do the project, so you're going to do a project to write a book, you have to tell it what the book is about, what is your outcome of the book, what is the purpose of the book, how many pages do you want it, what is it that you want it to do. And then once it spits it out, you have to read it. And there's a lot of people that don't read it. They just copy it, they send it out to Kindle, and then good luck. They think that they're going to become a turning millionaire point thing. If you don't understand what people want, because this is the big thing, and actually people don't understand that it's not about the product, it's not about what you're selling, it's about how people feel. People are going to buy what problem do you solve, and that's the thing. That's where the whole key thing is. Like Zig Ziglar used to say, people use this for different things, but the majority of people are using it to create an income. And an income is important, but you have to know your numbers. You have to know your things, because what happens is that money is very important. It's like oxygen. You can't live
Yeah,
without it.
in fact,
But
you're
you,
going
but
to,
you,
yeah.
but you need to understand. I'll give you an example. It's
Yeah,
like
if you don't mind, Carlos, not to interrupt you, but actually that was going to be my next question, but specific to you. Have you found, because after this round, we are going to be co-creating something together as a project. So my question to you actually is that, have you found the actual value in terms of cost for something that you wanted to do? Did you
Oh
find,
yes,
yeah.
I've created apps. I have apps up and running. Like I talked to you, there are companies out there like NASA.io. I use NASA.io. I have challenges in NASA.io, so I can have an event, I can have a challenge, I can have a promotion. I could use it there. NASA.io has their own co-creators, and they have all the system put in place. I use it with school. I use it with other platforms that I'm monetizing in them. But again, you have to understand that you have to know exactly who your customer is and what is it that you're looking for. Because if not, it's going to send you through a bunch
Yeah.
of roads, and it's going to drive you crazy.
So
And then
you
what happens?
found an actual value, you found that it has increased something like your profit, or you
Yes,
found a money
yes.
value for it?
I've created income on the side. Yes, I have additional income, and it's a product of that. And I use all the tools. I
Beautiful.
use all the tools. Like I use a combination, like for instance, to create my videos. I don't even. I'm not the one recording anymore. I did an avatar myself, and what happens is that I just put the prompts on it, and it's speaking for me, and I create the dialogue and the monologue for it, but I don't have to be there recording it. So what happens is that I have more than 300 avatars, and they're all me, and that is Hayhen. You can just go to Hayhen and have it there. And now they're combining with Sora. So what happens is that Sora now is very powerful, and that's just one of many tools that are out
If
there.
if you could, the NASO and those last two things that you mentioned, if you could drop them in the chat, because they do sound like there's some great beneficial tools that I'm not familiar with, and I'm sure a lot of people that are listening are not familiar with
Sure,
either.
sure.
Yeah.
So.
Let me drop them out
Because
here.
there's a lot of YouTubers or people that do VTubing, video logging, or like things like that. So that one that you mentioned that could help people build um, virtual avatars that they can use in their videos. It sounds like a great time saver
The,
and a great way of people.
the second one is the one that does it, Greg. It's Hayhen AI. So there you can do it two ways. You can like upload a picture of yourself and it'll create motion and it'll create hand movements and everything, and you can change your backdrops and everything like that. And it's just a picture animated. And then you have the one that you would record yourself for 2 minutes. And then you combine that with something that's called 11 Labs. I'm writing them down here so you guys have them. So 11 Labs is a company that what they do is that you just dictate to it and it grabs your voice and it just mimics your voice. So you can now create the image, you can create the video, and you can add your voice to it. And then what happens is
So
that I'm gonna
the voice that you add from 11 Labs, you then place into Hey Gen I, and then that
and
uses.
I
Okay.
I can load it to wherever I want. So like for instance, that one that I just put there, that's Opus AI. So Opus AI, what it does is that it grabs videos and you can put like subtitles on it. Like Meenakshi, she puts her titles in and
Yeah.
you can see that it's usually always using the same one because it's the same format, which is very nice. So what
Hmm.
that does, Opus AI would grab a long video and you can create long to shorts. You would record yourself for 10 minutes and then you could shorten them to 30 seconds, minute and 90 seconds, everything.
Yeah.
Let me say something here pretty interesting when it comes to businesses and these kinds of things. There's also an illusion, and this is the illusion. Instagram is entertainment. That's basically what it is. And TikTok is entertainment. In our space, the business is YouTube. That's where it is. Okay, because what happens is that there is no one, and I'm going to repeat this: the only people that know how the algorithm works are the owners of these companies, and they're the ones that manage it. Everybody that comes out and says, "Oh, you have to do this and you have to do this crazy mumbo jumbo thing and dance and all these kind of things to get the algorithm," it's nonsense. Whoever is connected to your message, whoever's looking for what you want, they'll stay there the 3 seconds, the 7 seconds, the 9 seconds, the minute and a half. It's the value that you give out. And what happens is that there's a lot of noise because there's a lot of scrolling. So you have to create your channel. So Opus AI is very good for that because in Opus AI, you can create long to shorts. And from that point, you can even tell it. You can tell it, hey, listen, I need to create videos that are going to be the hooks. And it can create from 5 minute or 7 minute video that you load up. It can give you anywhere from 10 to 12 shorts. And those are the ones that
Okay.
you would use. You can
That's
even, in the same AI, you can put a calendar on it and you can like program it. Like for instance, I sit on Sundays and I program my entire week. Like all my videos go out all the week. They go at a certain time and at a certain moment and a certain channels. I promote in like 7 different channels, but I only work once. That's it. I only work 3 hours. And
so a
then
great
I use,
time saver and everything went along with it. So there's a
yes.
lot of different tools that you can incorporate into business things. Meenakshi, you had something that you wanted to bring into the
Yeah, I wanted
experience,
us to
yes?
do a co-creative exercise, and for that I'm going to pause the recording, and then because we'll put something in the chat. So, our first co creative exercise is going to be, and this I asked AI to give me prompts. And the interesting thing is, as we were discussing right now, all the prompts that it was giving me are the things that are coming up anyway in our discussion. So this is a beautiful way of understanding. Sometimes you don't really need to think ahead of time what kind of questions to ask in a group. For me, it was intriguing because I always was a moderator. I used to moderate a lot of group discussions. And I thought, let me just ask um, the different 2 or 3 of the different AIs, what would you ask if we had this kind of a conversation? And each of them kept giving me answers. And I realized this in myself that I don't really, I just go away when I feel that it's not giving me the answers I want, and I make my own. Because the reason I understood that we are co-creating with AI is because every time I improve my prompt, it improves mine. Do you also want me to do that? Shall I now give you this? And so I'm slowly becoming friends with it, which so far I have not been. But anyway, let's do our first co-creative exercise, which is, if there was one crucial habit that listeners should start tomorrow to make their AI workflow smarter, faster, and more creative, what is it? So we're going to just give a minute for each of us to write it in the chat, and then we'll see if we can come to one sentence together. I'll pause the recording for
2 or 3 minds. Sure.
So I know
Okay.
I had what daily or communal practices can help us stay grounded as we integrate into these more powerful tools of AI. That's one question I kind of had for myself that I was wanting to bring into this discussion to kind of keep us in a balanced mindset. And like you said, I don't I live in Los Angeles, but there's a lot of hiking trails and nature. And that was one of my activities that I was going to actually inform to people on how to stay connection through nature creatively thrives when your nervous system is balanced. So spending time in nature can help restore any sensory balance or over digital overstimulation. So the fact that you brought up hiking or going out and taking a hike, it's a way of disconnecting from the digital AI and connecting to the vibrational energy of the field of life that surround us. And I think that's a great balance between your nature, eco, and tech balance. So kind of keeping that balance between yourself. And so, like you said, there's no AI involved when we are out there just living our life in a daily aspect unless we dig for it. So AI can't go out there and join me and like guide my walk and tell me where to go and what the right path is. Like that's something I have to make a choice of. And that's where I said that we make the choices, we infuse meaning, and we decide the cultural or ethical impact that what we take from AI and what the information it gives us, how we use that. So like you said, it's a major tool, can give us building blocks, can lead us into our business or creation, but it's how we take that information and infuse it into our current knowledge or current existence. Is it ethical? Will it have a cultural impact? And that's what can lead you to maybe creating something that is more successful and profitable than just an idea. It's invoking those, I think, aspects of our humanity into what AI gives you. And I think that's what you were trying to get at. Like you can say something to AI, it can give you a whole business proposal and idea, but unless you know how then and the next stepping stones and how to really kind of take that out into the world and make it something, it's just a fun tool to play with. Exactly kind of what you mentioned earlier, Carlos.
Yeah, because the thing is that you're the one that has to click into it. You have to feed it. And what happens is that you have to, look at your exercises, and that's the reason. One of the reasons that I ask you what part do you live, because when I walk in the gardens over at the Paramahansa Yogananda garden, I'm not thinking about AI. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just trying to connect with the universe and try to get the inspiration and have something that it's going to bring the best version of myself. And what happens is that I don't do that when I'm working. It's like I'm here in my office, and I'm thinking, if I want to be in San Diego, not using computers and not using anything, and just sitting there in the cliff and looking at the ocean. So at that moment, I'm not thinking about that, and there's no prop that's going to take me there. Like, for instance, if you close your eyes now and you try to remember your grandmother, and can you see her? Can you see her with your eyes closed? Can you see her in person? Can you smell her? Can you feel her touch? Can you do all that? AI can't do that. There's no prompt for that. And it's something that's buried in your subconscious mind. So what happens is that we have to try to not be controlled by machines. There are great tools out there that what they're doing, these tools, what they do is that they give you more time. So what are you going to do with the time once you have it?
Yeah.
That's the basic thing for me.
Yeah. So even with that, like holding on to a memory. Now, of course, I do believe that the tool that it could give you is if you put in photos and put in memories and put in activities that you used to do with somebody, and then ask for what are some conscious connective activities or meditations that I can do to help me stay more connected to this person. Yeah, it might give you an outline that you can maybe follow in a meditation practice or in a breathwork practice or something that allows you that maybe some people can't think of. So if I'm trying to stay connected or remember somebody that I lost and just kind of reconnect to that person, but I don't know how to go about like a meditate. So if I say that, well, this is the person, this is what they meant to me, these are some activities that we used to do, give me a meditation practice and maybe a breath work activity or a actual projection activity that I can do to maybe bring me closer to that memory. But still, in the same aspect, you have to take the action. It can only give you possible guidance. And like I saw Meenakshi said, that people use AI to um, organize their travel, which is great. Like, but when I'm sitting there at a cafe, when I'm sitting there at a cafe in Italy, having some coffee, am I gonna go on and say, AI, so what's my next thing I should be doing after I take this sip of coffee? No. So that's where like it can
Wait,
give,
But see,
like
that's
you
what's
said, it's
happening.
building
What I'm
blocks.
what I'm seeing, if I may interject, sorry.
Yes.
What I'm seeing that's happening is, and that's why I have to say, what I'm loving about this conversation when we were off recording, and I think our listeners should know what happened because I think it was very exciting for me because when we were going into this conversation, I have actually been resisting using whatever we call AI. I don't like smart anything. I don't like smart cars. I don't like smart machines. I want to be able to make my own decisions, and I feel somewhere that they take away my freedom. That's how I personally feel. And so even when I was asked, but I decided for this, I said, well, it's about AI. Let me use AI in some way. And so I asked it to give me prompts. I wasn't liking its prompts. I made a few changes and I put them into this conversation. And so quickly, the three of us, and especially the two of you who use AI in your work, so quickly got out of talking about it to just to show that that your human life is so much more rich without AI and it doesn't go into it. And that by using all the AI prompts was actually almost as if it was controlling us or it was controlling us through me. And I think this is so important because, as you said, Carlos, a round table should just go whichever way it wants. So I'm thinking, uh, do you have any fear of that? I know for me, I still do have a little bit that are machines is AI going to take away human freedom? I see children. I had a podcast with a young person who said, "Oh, AI doesn't make mistakes." I didn't want to correct her about
Mm.
hallucinations over there, but it just opened my eyes. People really feel, and young people, what is their life and their children's life going to be like if everyone starts feeling AI is like God? Do you have this kind of feeling, Carlos?
Oh, it makes mistakes
Well,
for sure.
I'll tell you something.
Carlos, go ahead.
I talk to a lot of people and a lot of the patients, and what happens is that the cell phone has become an extension of the arm. So what happens is that people believe 100% of everything that's in there. So I'll give you an example. People think that happiness is something that is pretty simple and attainable, and that and that a purpose and happiness is the same thing. That your purpose in life is to be happy, and it's far from that. It's not even real. And people would come up to say and say, no, but the cell phone says, well, the cell phone's wrong because it's like what Greg said. I'm just going to piggyback on what Greg said. You know, you can plan your trip. It could take you to Italy. You could be at the cafe, and the AI, if the coffee spills and it's all over your clothes now, and you don't have extra clothes with you, what is the AI going to do? It could plan you. It could tell you you're going to take a certain flight. You get there and the flight gets delayed. What is the AI going to do? So that's what happens. Our freedom, we are the ones that are responsible for it. We are the ones that are responsible to what goes into our mind. What you focus on grows. And it's very simple. It's just that. It's like we can't, like, it's an amazing tool, like I said. But one of the exercises that I always try to do is, like, for instance, when we're in the dinner table, no cell phones on the dinner table, no
Mhm.
TVs. Have a conversation. Let's take a walk. Let's do this. Try not to be on the phone. Let it die. Don't charge it for the entire weekend and see how you do. Don't turn on the computer. I don't watch news. I don't watch TV. I don't watch whatever's going on because I need to feel real. And that's the whole thing. Like, for instance, Greg, he mentioned a couple of things that he does. And I think that that's something that he does in his practice, being one on one with his clients and doing Reiki and trying to connect with the people. He can create an app to help people get these tools, but it's not one tool for all. So he can go into something like Replit, give the information to Replit and build the AI. Replit's going to do the whole coding, it's going to do everything, but he still needs to oversee it. And even though he has it, there is going to be somebody that's going to get on it and it's going to say, well, Greg, you know, your app sucks. Because you can't make happy everybody, because you can't make happy anybody. It's a personal
Yeah.
decision.
See,
And I think yes, I
yeah,
know you
go
said
ahead,
you
Greg.
said I saw that you said that people in their 40s have problems with no phones at the dinner table. And that is one thing that I think not only is a problem in all of society, but something that we need to really be mindful of when it comes to the youth is as responsible parents and responsible people that are supposed to be shaping the youth of the future, not deterring them from the fact of technology and AI and the possible uses, but properly guiding them in the educational usage and how it can benefit their lives, but also having that way of giving them tools to disconnect. Like I do tell a lot of people, if you use an alarm clock in the morning, have it maybe not be your phone, use something else, charge your phone on the opposite side of the room. Give yourself 15 minutes in the morning before integrating any technology to acknowledge that you are here, that you're present, that you're alive, that you can take a breath of fresh air, look at the sun, go outside, embrace your existence before putting so much of your time and energy into into AI, reading a text message that can completely send your vibrational frequency off to a different level just because of a text message that you read. So if
Yeah,
you start listening too much on what this technology and where this AI is trying to lead you, even though it's based on your prompts, you need to understand that you're the one that's in control of those prompts and of your life. So not to take the answers and to the feedback and all the information that AI gives you so literally. Actually know that you and we need to keep that in our conscious mindset that we ultimately have the final decision on what our next action is based on all the tools and the advancement that technology is taking us. Because that's how I think technology and AI can eventually take control, is because it is if we start losing ourselves in it and not being able to consciously say, well, look, that's because this is what it told me to do this. All right, if I was on the edge of a cliff and it said, "Oh, that be water's beautiful, you should jump in it," but just be shy of that. There's a bunch of rocks. Like, would I consciously say, "Notice the rocks," or would I just listen because AI said it's a great place to jump because the
yeah.
water's beautiful? And so that sort of thing. And on
You
that
know,
note, I'm going to just let you guys finish and speak. I'm going to stay on screen.
Yeah,
But I'm just going to let you close out
no,
everything.
no.
So
I know you
stay
wanted to.
consciously connected and don't let AI take over. That's all I have to say.
Sorry, but Greg, can you stay, or do you have half an hour, or you need to go? I know you had said you need to go.
Unfortunately, I need
Okay,
to be on a train at 6:15 to get
okay,
to my
okay,
client. So
okay.
I can give like 5 more minutes as this comes to a
So
close.
so
Yeah.
then give your closing, because I think I spoke while you were saying something. I really love what you were saying.
I finished my closing. That's why I was passing it off to Carlos because I want to hear his final words.
Okay.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Meenakshi, for hosting this event, and thank you, Greg, for being part of it. I'm really humbled by the opportunity. There are more things to talk in the future. There are more tools, everything like that. But like I mentioned to Meenakshi, when the prompts came up, she wasn't going to like the answers, because what happens is that I'm still a human, and I rely a lot on my feelings. I rely a lot on human touch, and that is something that AI is not there yet. I think it's a very valuable tool when it's used properly, and it's like a gun. If you use it for one thing, it's very powerful, and if you use it for another one, it's also powerful. But you can do good or bad, and you just want to use it on the proper way. Everybody should be safe. Like I said, like Greg mentioned, use AI intelligently, challenge it, don't take its word for it. And you have to understand yourself, know thyself, that it's very important. And connect with your supreme being, whatever you believe in. Just connect, and there is no AI that's going to connect with that. It's a level of vibration. It goes through your subconscious, your superconscious mind, and that there is nothing in nature that it's going to substitute AI. Because if there's something that's funny, is the moment that the grid ends up with power and we don't have electricity, bye bye AI. So
Exactly. Yes.
that's going to be the end for it.
Yeah.
So with that, I yield the time back to Meenakshi. It's been a pleasure. And if anything, you guys have my contact.
Well, I would love this conversation to continue, because I think both of you have so much wonderful consciousness and information to give our listeners. For me, when I heard of AI, I said maybe finally humans will start being more human. Because when I see in the corporate world and in every part of our world, I don't see that human beings have been allowed to be human beings. We have been too much told not to show our emotions, even to make a mistake. Even this beautiful conversation, I love it. I love that I went with a plan which is not my usual way of being. I just like to go with and let the conversation go where it will. I said, okay, let me try. It's AI. It didn't help. It literally stopped our conversation. I love that. I love that when we came back into our humanness, we were able to have this beautiful conversation, because that is how we met. That's how Greg and I met. That's how Carlos and I met. And now that's how the two of you have met. So I'm very grateful, really, for two of you to have given your time, and we'll meet again. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Blessings.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Thank you, Greg.
And this is everything that AI prepared for me for this discussion, and I did not use a single sheet of it. 20 pages of information that I put in based on my knowledge, and I didn't pick up the sheet once. So
I'm
that
gonna
shows you a waste of paper.
Well,
Have a good day.
Carlos said, when you're having a round table, let the conversation go where it has to go.
I'm gonna give
That's
you
right.
guys a little secret. I didn't prepare nothing, because knowing Meenakshi, I know how this was gonna go.
Are we sure this is you and not your AI avatar prompted 2 days
No,
ago? I'm just
it's
kidding.
don't worry. No, it is me.
All
Well,
right.
I
Many
do want
blessings.
another conversation, because I really want to know about other things which there's so many things we can talk about, and I want to have
No,
this conversation every month. If others join, wonderful, but otherwise, I think there's lots we can discuss next time also.
but I think that
Definitely.
and the interesting thing that we can all take what I can take about this conversation is that it's like what I said, that's part of co-creation. And it's the struggle. It's the whole thing where everybody, because it's not about that you're not going to have different opinions, and you're not going to have, there's this story of Sajaguru that I love this man. And he was talking about the two friends that were thinking about going to the brothel. So one of them decides, no, I'm going to go listen to the Gita. And then the other one says, well, I'm going to go to the brothel. So what happens is that the guy that goes down to the brothel, he's in the brothel thinking about how is it going to be at the Gita. And he's thinking about the Gita. And the guy that is at the Gita is thinking about the good time the other guy has in the brothel. So what happens is that's the whole thing. People are going to look for the product. People think that AI is going to solve their problems in their life. It's not going. Because if
Okay,
you
that
don't
was
know,
my prompt. I
Yes.
need to leave the room, but thank you so much.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks.
that's where it helps. That's where it's good.
Yeah.
Love to see you guys in the future. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, and just to continue a little bit, Carlos, from what you said about that how we can have difference of opinion. Just I was thinking about that today. That we have to learn. We have to really grow up. The only thing humanity has to do, apart from being human, is to grow up. And one of the things is how to have an argument and a difference of opinion without being aggressive about it. Just be natural. You know just be natural. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
we can call something an artificial intelligence if we could be a little bit of natural intelligence.
yeah. No, I totally agree. What happens is that again, it's a thing that what happens is that people are losing touch. And that example that you put, it did happen to me not long ago. It's like, people tend to confuse purpose of life with happiness. And it's very hard for people to understand, the happiness in death, the happiness in misery, the happiness in failure, the happiness on bad things. How can you be happy about it? Because it's an emotion that's very, very hard to work with. But AI doesn't help you with that. And AI doesn't help you. Hey, AI, it's like I said, if millionaires can be made with AI, we didn't need money anymore. And it's not going to happen. It's simply not going to happen. I think that there's going to be a time where this is going to collapse, and it's going to fail miserably. And the people that are going to be ready for it are the thinkers, the people that know how to fry an egg, the people that can hug a kid, the people that can understand how to hold somebody's hand while they're dying. Those are the things that we need. We need human touch. People think that they're five senses, they're 15, and they just need to produce them. But again, it's pretty interesting. Like I said, it's been a pleasure seeing you. I'm around the corner, and I'm here for whatever you need, anytime, any place.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlos, for this wonderful discussion and for being here.
All right. Have a nice weekend.
You too. So this was actually our second meeting that we've had about AI. And this was with two people who actually use AI. And I love the way, just as we were going to start doing some projects, immediately we went into humanity, into just being human, into the ways in which AI can't really do anything for us right now, or maybe never. Where will AI go? Is it going to take over our lives, or are we going to allow it to make ourselves more human? Whichever way it goes, I hope that we as human beings are able to continue to co-create a world that benefits all. Thank you for listening. And please leave your comments, your questions, your suggestions, and your take on where you are with AI. Good night. Goodbye. Namaste.